How did the company of Rihand and the Expressway fall? And how did a multi-billion empire rise out of a small village? This is the story of Jaypee Group. It is night. The wind is moving through the unfinished towers of Noida. Some windows are still dark, some balconies are still empty, and far away on the Yamuna Expressway, vehicles are speeding by. This is the biggest contradiction in this story. The road is functioning, the name is still alive, but the empire has collapsed. This is where the fear begins. Can a company that brought dreams like dams, highways, power plants, townships, and a Formula One track onto the ground be crushed under its own debt, delays and disputes? And this is where the curiosity is born. What exactly happened to Jaypee Group that the name which was once a symbol of development in North India now appears trapped between insolvency, the crisis of homebuyers, and ED action? To understand this story, we have to go behind the headline. Because Jaypee Group's fall did not happen suddenly. It was a giant structure built over many decades, inside which there was ambition, execution, political goodwill, engineering capability too, but gradually within that same structure, cracks of debt, delay, diversification, and liquidity stress kept growing. Today, Jaiprakash Associates Limited, which is considered the flagship company of the Jaypee Group, is officially in the corporate insolvency resolution process. According to the NCLT Allahabad bench record, CRP against the company was admitted on the 3rd of June 2024, and by March 2nd, 026, an order had already been passed on its resolution plan. In other words, this is not just the story of a weak business, but the story of a giant that got crushed under its own weight. The roots of Jaypee Group go back to India in 1958. According to the group's official history, founder-chairman Jaiprakash Gaur took a diploma in civil engineering from the University of Roorkee, now IIT Roorkee, in 1950, and then entered the construction line. According to Jaypee University's founder profile, he was born in a small village named Chitta in Bulandshahr district. He had not started like a big industrial house. The beginning was engineering knowledge, an understanding of government work, and execution discipline. That was the era when independent India was moving toward nation building through dams, canals, irrigation, and infrastructure projects, and Jaiprakash Gaur built his path in this very landscape. In the early years, the group earned credibility in civil construction. The official history snippet says that Jaiprakash Gaur built his identity by working in difficult categories such as dams, canals, tunnels, and hydroelectric projects. That is what made the Jaypee name emerge not just as a contractor but as an execution specialist. Different public narratives exist around the Rihand project, but this much is clear. Dam and hydro engineering projects played a major role in giving the group early recognition. In the decades that followed, that same reputation made it part of North India's big infrastructure story. That is why Jaypee Group's rise was not just a business rise. It was also part of the story of the post-independence infrastructure boom. Then gradually, the company started moving beyond government contracts and turning into a large corporate structure. According to the official site and annual reports, Jaiprakash Associates later spread into cement, engineering and construction, real estate, hospitality, and through associate companies into areas such as power, roads, and fertilizer. In that era, this diversification looked like strength. After India's liberalization, huge opportunities had opened up for private players in infrastructure, power, and real estate. Jaypee Group caught that very wave. It did not just take projects, it shaped regions. This was the phase when the group's name was no longer counted only in the list of contractors, but in the list of infrastructure empires. If you travel from Delhi toward Agra, the Yamuna Expressway is the most visible chapter of this story. According to the Yamuna Expressway Industrial Development Authority, this 165 km access-controlled expressway was developed by Jaypee Group on the PPP model, for which the concession agreement was executed on the 7th of February 2003, and it was opened to the public on the 9th of August 2012. This project dramatically reduced travel time between NCR and Agra and began a new story of Eastern Bank development. It was not just a road. It was a symbol of the confidence that Jaypee Group could not only conceive mega-scale infrastructure, but also execute it. Not only that, Greater Noida's Buddh International Circuit was also part of this larger development vision. According to Formula One's official results archive, India hosted its first Formula One Grand Prix on the 30th of October 2011 at the Buddh International Circuit. At that time, this project was not just a motorsport venue. It was a corporate statement. The message was clear. Jaypee Group is not limited to cement, dams and roads. It can also take India to the stage of global spectacle. In that period, the group's image was one of ambition, scale, and aspiration. It seemed as if the company had no ceiling to its growth. After 2000, the command of the company began appearing more firmly in the hands of the new generation. Names like Manoj Gaur emerged as the public face of the group. In real estate, Jaypee Wishtown, Sports City, and allied developments made the group a major player in the NCR housing dream. Jill, that is Jaypee Infratech Limited, was positioned specifically for the Yamuna Expressway and the related real estate development. According to Jaypee Infratech's own description, the company was engaged in the development of the Yamuna Expressway and related real estate projects. This is where the growth story entered its most glamorous phase. And perhaps this is also where its most dangerous turn began. The fall of any large business empire usually does not happen because of one mistake. The same was true in Jaypee Group's case. Its weakness came not from a single scandal, but from multiple structural pressures. The first was aggressive expansion. Highways, cement, hotels, power plants, sports infrastructure, townships. The group was present everywhere. But infrastructure and real estate follow one cruel rule. Capital goes in first, cash comes much later. If the project is completed on time, the model works. But the moment delays begin, the debt meter starts spinning fast. Jaypee Group kept getting trapped in that very cycle. Economic Times reporting from 2015 spoke of group debt reaching around 75,000 crore, while in 2014 Gaur had also acknowledged that even after sale transactions, group debt remained very high. Debt in itself is not always bad, but debt becomes dangerous when cash flows are delayed, projects are capital intensive, and valuation assumptions turn out to be too optimistic. This is exactly what happened with Jaypee. Money coming from real estate bookings did not fully translate into timely delivery. Power projects had long gestation periods, and cement and infrastructure assets continued to demand heavy capital. On top of that came macro shocks. In 2014, the Supreme Court's cancellation of coal block allocations hit Jaypee Group entities as well. Business Standard and Mint reports clearly said that the group's power side stress worsened further because of this decision. So the pressure was not only internal, external shocks also weakened the balance sheet. But the front that hurt the group's image the most was real estate delay. Wishtown and other projects attracted thousands of homebuyers in NCR. According to Money Control's 2019 report, Jaypee Infratech had planned large housing developments in 2007 comprising about 32,000 flats and plots, a portion of which later suffered delays stretching over years. Later reports, including Money Control January 2nd, 026 and Times of India November 2nd, 05, say that at the time of insolvency, more than 20,000 homebuyers were trapped in uncertainty for a long time. That means exact counts varied at different stages. But this much is clear. This did not remain only a corporate balance sheet crisis. It became a crisis of middle-class dreams. This is where the narrative changed. Earlier, Jaypee Group had been a symbol of success. Now it increasingly became a symbol of delayed possession, litigation, and stuck savings. The anger of homebuyers rose, also because, for the Indian middle class, a flat is not just an asset. It is a mix of a family's lifelong savings, prestige, and security. When delivery gets delayed for years, and both EMI and rent continue together, then corporate delay turns into a personal tragedy. That is why the insolvency case of Jaypee Infratech did not remain just an insolvency matter. It became a national test case for homebuyer rights. After Jaypee Infratech was admitted into insolvency, the struggle became even more tangled. The resolution process ran long, multiple bids came, litigation continued, and the matter went up to the Supreme Court and NCLT. Eventually, 𝐼Raksha Group's resolution plan got decisive momentum in 2024. Money Control June 2nd, 024, and NCLT February/May 2nd, 024 orders make it clear that 𝐼Raksha Group took control of Jaypee Infratech and implementation moved forward. Reports from 2026 say that 𝐼Raksha claimed to revive stalled projects, deliver thousands of flats, and resume construction. This means that the GRT chapter effectively moved out of Jaypee family control. But the story did not end there, because the noose of insolvency had tightened around flagship Jaiprakash Associates Limited as well. According to the March 2nd, 0 tour of the NCLT Allahabad bench, JAL has been in CRP since June 2nd, 024, and its various businesses. Engineering and construction, real estate, cement, hospitality, associate interests have come within the scope of the resolution process. In simple language, this means that the company structure which once held the group together is now under a future driven by creditors, resolution applicants, and the tribunal. This is the harshest stage of corporate decline, when a promoter-led empire starts stepping back from the decision-making table and the language of recovery replaces the language of control. Meanwhile, legal troubles made the story even darker. In May 2nd, 25, the ED conducted searches at premises linked to Jaypee Infratech, Jaiprakash Associates, and other connected entities. According to Economic Times, the investigation was linked to an alleged fraud case of around 12,000 crore, involving siphoning and diversion of funds belonging to homebuyers and investors. In January 2nd, 06, ET Realty reported that the ED attached assets worth around 400 crore, making the investigation even more serious. In February 2nd, 06, ET Legal World's reporting, during the bail matter of former GIL chief Gaur, brought out the ED's stand that questions exist over the use of around 13,000 crore collected from homebuyers. These are allegations, whose final judicial conclusion will be decided in a separate process. But one thing is clear. Jaypee Group's story is now no longer just about debt. It has also become a story of enforcement scrutiny. Now if we look back, Jaypee Group's fall can be understood through four major reasons. First, the dangerous combination of ambition and leverage. Second, cash flow mismatch in long gestation projects. Third, trust collapse because of real estate delivery failure. And fourth, legal and regulatory shocks further weakened whatever recovery space was left. That is why the company kept facing stress, not on one front, but on many. When one business weakens, another can support it. But when debt is group-wide, projects are delayed, asset sales happen in distress mode, and litigation is running in parallel, then the empire gradually loses control. Even so, it would be easy, but not correct, to understand this story only in a villain versus victim frame. Jaypee Group built real infrastructure, built roads, created cement capacity, built a hydro and power footprint, and delivered projects that changed the NCR-Agra corridor. The Yamuna Expressway still exists today. The Buddh circuit still reminds people of Indian corporate ambition. That is what makes this story even more tragic. Because this is not the collapse of some paper company, but the collapse of a real builder of real assets. Perhaps that is why Jaypee Group's fall leaves such a deep mark in Indian business history. And perhaps the biggest lesson is this. In infrastructure, both scale and success are double-edged swords. As long as execution, cash flow, and governance move together, scale builds an empire. But when that same scale becomes debt-driven, when real estate promises are not fulfilled on time, and diversification becomes larger than discipline, then that same scale makes collapse huge as well. Jaypee Group's story teaches exactly this. That in India, building infrastructure is difficult, but running it with sustainable finance is even harder. Something new. Or if you feel this information should reach more people, don't forget to like and share the video. Your small share can become valuable and useful information for someone else. If you have any questions related to this topic, or if you would like to share your opinion with us, be sure to write in the comment box. We read every question and suggestion from you, because your feedback inspires us to create better content. And if you want to keep receiving such interesting and reliable information about business, the economy, and the world in the future, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel GRT Business and also press the bell icon so that you get notifications of every new video directly. At GRT Business, we always strive to provide you with accurate, balanced, and reliable information. Our news and analysis are prepared based on information obtained from various news agencies, public sources, and public opinion. We make every effort to verify and validate each fact as much as possible. But in case of any possible error or dispute, the responsibility lies with the respective sources. Our only aim is to present you with a correct and trustworthy perspective so that you can understand any topic better.